every now and again in life, a situation occurs where you think, oh God, I wish I'd done something. And you usually don't. You usually think about it 2 or 3 minutes later and it's too late. But something occurred to me and I did do something, and it still cracks me up to this day. About 20 years ago, I was working for a financial company doing some video, and we were shooting in Scottsdale, Arizona at their annual conference get-together thing. And it was a bunch of financial-centered people having a good time for a weekend, and I was just making a little film about them having a good time to show towards the end of the conference. And I did, and it worked out great. Everyone loved it. That was that. But the keynote speaker for that evening was a chap named Arthur Laffer. Now, Arthur Laffer was Ronald Reagan's financial go-to guy. He created Reaganomics, the trickle-down economy, and the Laffer curve. Now, trickle-down economics basically means that if you give big tax breaks to the rich people, they'll take that money and they'll build factories and they'll pay people more and everyone's going to do great. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. It's never worked, and it never will work, because once the rich people get rich, they like money, and they like more money. They just want more money. They can't have enough money. There's no trickle down anything, and that's how society works, unfortunately. So Arthur Laffer gave his speech, and afterwards I packed up all my gear and started heading back to the little cottage that I had rented for me. As I was walking back, I passed a bar at the hotel, and there, sitting all alone at the bar, was Arthur Laffer. And I just had to go and, sit somewhere near him. And so I did. I sat a seat away from him, and we acknowledged each other and made a little small talk about the weather in Scottsdale and blah, 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 And I think he even bought me a drink. I talked about what I had done, and he had seen my little video presentation, and I told him I found his speech interesting. And he was like, glad you liked it. And I said, well, not so fast, really. I wouldn't go so far as to say I liked it. And I sort of tweaked his attention a little bit, and I said, well, basically, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. The Laffer curve, Reaganomics, trickle-down economics, it doesn't work. And he was like, well, and I said, watch, I'll show you. So I said, if I gave you $10,000 in a briefcase right now, just gave it to you, what would you do with it? And he thought for a moment, and he's like, well, I'd probably invest it, and that was about it, really. He'd invest it, which is fine, but that's just really to make him more money. He's not investing it for the good of society. So I turned to the bartender and I said, excuse me, can I ask you a quick question? Hypothetically, if I gave you a suitcase of $10,000, what would you do with it? And she said, well, I'm a single mother. I've got a couple of kids, and I'm a little bit behind with the rent, and my car needs repairing, and I haven't been back to see my parents for a while, and I just, I've got things I'd spend it on. And I turned round to Arthur Laffer and I said, see, you're wrong, and you always will be wrong. The point being that if you give money to rich people, they don't spend it. They don't insert it into the economy. They just invest it, which is okay, but it doesn't help anyone else apart from the person and the company they invested it with. Whereas the barmaid would spend the money. She's moving the money around. She's injecting the money into the local economy and that's the good thing. And I politely thanked him for his company and made my exit. And that was that. He's still going around talking about Reaganomics and the trickle-down economy and what a success it is, but that's just because he's greedy. And I went back to my room and I slept very comfortably. Thank you.